literally been standing behind the curtain just like, they are so hot right now. They are hot as fuck right now. I'm so excited to be here. This is actually the place where I did my first ever open mic set. So it feels really cool to be here. I was driving into town today though, and I saw this billboard, and it said, "Be a dad today." And I was like, oh my God, that's so nice. It's like almost forgiving. Like as if the dad can just show up whenever he wants. Be a dad today. It's just like so much nicer than like what I get targeted for, A person with a uterus, bunk. Like sometimes I'll see a billboard for me, and it'll be something like, "A fetus can drive at 6 weeks." It's like, oh my God, what happened to science? Buy me dinner first. I have lots of tattoos. I'm a big fan of them. And I didn't realize getting lots of tattoos that meant like you just get Yelp reviews to the face for the rest of your life. I was like, I want to look cool. I don't want people to talk to me though. People say so much shit to you, it's crazy. Like this person came up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, I love your tattoos. I want to get a tattoo, but I just love my body." I'm like, oh, your parents loved you? God. I have body dysmorphia, so I just want to cover it all up. I also get a lot of people that will come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, you have so many tattoos. That one's good." They're not all good. Or they'll be like, "Those look expensive," which is the meanest, right? Like that's the rudest. Because you're assuming that like I'm wasting money I don't have, right? Like that's so annoying. And people spend lots of money on stupid shit all the time, and that's fine, Like I know people that spend like $80 on brunch, and that's great. We all have our vices, and mine's pain. So anytime someone says that to me now, I just take my arm away and go, "Poor? You think I'm poor?" The person that hates my tattoos the most, though, is my father. Yeah, Dad hates them, and my mom. But my dad hates my tattoos so much that, like, he tries to, like, get back at me for having lots of tattoos by making fun of other people with tattoos in front of me. Classic dad, right? And recently this lady walked by just covered in tattoos, and my dad just goes, "Ugh. Look at that woman over there just covered in tattoos. What a mistake. She just wants attention." And I was like chilling in the beach chair next to him, just kind of like, "Yeah, Dad, that's all I wanted!" A lot of people say that I look like my dad, and I feel bad for him because it must looking like a pretty lady. I do the titty thing because my dad has tits too, okay? He loves that one. I do. I look so much like my dad. I got a little bit of a dad bod. People love to compliment. I just feel like, it's all about they're like apple bottom jeans. Why not apple body ladies, right? Right? Like it's cute. We can make it cute. Like it's like a frog bod. That's the shape, right? Let's call a little frog bod. We're frogging, we're fucking, we're having fun. All I'm saying is I have enough chub here to float all of us to safety, okay? But I also have an ass that quit its day job just a little too confidently. I walk down the street and all the catcallers are like, "Get back here, Howard. You didn't finish your paperwork." I was just told at a very young age that I have very high levels of testosterone for a woman, okay? Woof if you will, yeah. And that doesn't really surprise me because I always knew there's just a little man inside of me. That's why I named my bush Richard Simmons. Obviously because of the hair, but also because you can usually catch him in some spandex and he believes in you! That's what he says, that's what he says. And like, it's okay, like I'm okay, you know, I like being a thicker person, and I know that thank you, yeah, give it up for the thicks! Love it! Yes. You know, it's crazy though. Like I know I'm doing better because I'm getting lots of online trolls. Yeah, be jealous. And they always think calling me fat is like such a diss. And I just want to be like, dude, there is nothing that you can call me that my mom hasn't called me already. Don't get sad. She loves that joke, you know? Like when I get on stage, she'll be like, go easy on me up there. And I'm like, well, you didn't, so buckle up. So like this one troll, he was like, you look like the Michelin Man. You come with extra tires. And it's like, why is that a bad thing? You know, like coming with extra tires, that's handy, if anything. And if you actually look at the Michelin Man, like look at him, okay, like what is he, like 6'4"? Okay, he's cute, He can get it. He's got like blue eyes, and those curves, those little curves, those are just places to put dicks in. There's one in there right now, just kidding. These two just came from there. They give it 5 stars. I know, it's a perfect one. It's a perfect joke. And I really feel like you can be sexy at any age, any way that you look, any size that you are, you know? Like, yeah, absolutely give it up for that. That's amazing. And I just think everybody should just take it all in, you know? Let's just I like getting catcalled, you know what I mean? Like, I like it, okay? It makes me feel sexy. Like, this one dude was like barking at me. He was like, arr, arr, like barking so good, I just started like meowing back at him. I was like, meow, 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 you know, it was like more like an engine. But when the sun cleared my eyes, I realized it was actually just a Cocker Spaniel barking at me. Like, I'll take it. Dogs are better than people. It's true. It's true. I have ADHD, if you can't tell. Bit of a little neurodivergent nightmare. Any nightmares out there? Yeah. It's okay. The people not responding, that's how I know those are my people. The silence, I come here for that silence. I'm like, that's my person. They're not there yet. They're catching up 2 steps behind me, and I love that. Because that's how I am in a conversation. I like check in, check out. I want to be a good listener, but then I see a butterfly and nothing matters. You know? And sometimes I'll be like having a serious, or like, people will start talking to me before like, they make sure that I'm checked in. And sometimes I will be like, it makes me mad because it's like, wait, you gotta be like, hey, I gotta tell you something. You know, it's just like so demanding of your time. So sometimes I'm just like stay in this like zone out. But then I'll hear what they're like little bits of what they're saying. And I come back in too late. So they're like talking about something like really deep and sad. And I just have to be like, oh, that's crazy. And then I'm like, what were they saying? And I got diagnosed with ADHD like back in the 90s when it was like spooky, right? When it was like, is it ADD or is it ADHD? And I had a hard H in there. I was like too excited at Catholic camp, okay? I was like, a pharaoh, pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go. Oh! So I like totally got sent home, yeah. They were like, that was too much gyrating here. The priests can't take it. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, we're laughing, we're trauma bonding. I know that's not the right word. Someone was like, that's not trauma bonding. I was like, okay, but it just sounds so good. It's crazy getting diagnosed. I was diagnosed, I think, around like the age of 5 or 6. And so, yeah. And so it's crazy because I meet people who are diagnosed like way later in life. And all those people, I'm just like, I wish I got diagnosed later in life. Because all those people are like, oh my God, everything makes sense now. I love my Adderall, you know? And I was like, I was on Adderall when I was 6, you know? And you're like, and now I'm on Zoloft now. Stabilized. Stabilized. It's my mantra. And then it's funny because they try to give it to you like as a kid, like because you're a kid, so you don't know what they're trying to tell you. And so they're like, okay, Catherine, you're gonna have a hard time in school. You're gonna have a hard time making friends. You're gonna have a hard time like driving. But everyone we know who's famous with ADHD, they're creative. And you're like, what does that mean? I'm 6. And they're like, well, it just means like, you know, there's like Picasso, he never finished his paintings and he's famous for that. You know, and I'm like, cool, so I didn't finish a painting and I got put on Ritalin. And it's like weird because and I think it's good like just a little later, you know, let the brain develop a little bit. Because I remember like when I was the most fun kid in school, okay? Like I was like so fun that like teachers would be like, is she medicated today? Because it was the 90s, you could say that. You could say that in the 90s. Like, oh my God, that would be so bad if you said that now. And my friends would be like, they would notice, you know, because they loved when I was off my meds. They would be like, Katie, we don't like when you take your medicine. You're different. And I would just be like, shut up, I'm organizing stuff over here. So I didn't like how it made me feel. And if you can't tell, I've been off of it for like 8 years or 9 years. I don't know. Yeah, since then I've gone through like 100 jobs, 40 speeding tickets. No one's reading the signs in this brain. I'm just kidding. But I did get 2 speeding tickets in 1 week. So painful. Oh my God, when you get the second one, you're just like, I want to end it right now. I got so mad that I just was like, I'm gonna burn it down. And it turns out that arson is a way bigger fine than a speeding ticket. I know, it's a dad one. That's a dad joke for sure. I told you I got my dad's genes. But so also I like to think that I can be open and all these things like that, and I have so much respect for all my poly people. Any poly people here tonight? Yeah, hell yeah! It's crazy to me though. I can't even imagine having to focus on more than one person. I could be in an orgy. There could be 1,000 dicks and clits around my head, just dicks and clits and dicks and clits. Yeah. And I have a big dick right here, and I'm just like, did I check the mail today? Just never invited back. I'm terrible in movies at home. At home, I'm terrible in movies at home. If I'm in a theater, it's perfect for me, you know? Theaters are made for people with ADHD, you know? There's no distractions. If anything, we're the narcs in that situation, right? If we see your phone, we're like, can you turn it off? That's all I can see. Here's the thing, is I'll take a 2-hour movie at home and turn it into a 4-hour movie easy. Because I'm rewinding that shit like crazy. It's the best feature. And I don't understand, my partner gets so mad at me and I'm like, we can rewind, why are you mad? And he's like, well, this is the 10th time. You know? And then sometimes I won't admit that I'm not fully in, you know, I was telling you guys. And one time I got 20 minutes into a movie and I was like, wait, we gotta start it over, we forgot the subtitles. I don't remember anything. I know it's in English, I need them so I can hear. And sometimes You'll be staring at the screen. Like, you'll be staring at the screen. There shouldn't be any reason for you to go anywhere else but focus on this movie. And something will happen that triggers a sub-thought. Like, they'll be like, look at the lady in the brick building, it's on fire! And my brain's like, she's a brick! I love living in Denver. Denver's crazy, you know, it's really interesting. Denver's like a really dog off leash place. It's my one complaint. Because I have a blender for a dog, okay? I don't know what it is about my personality. Anybody adopt a dog that should have been put down? Hey, I'm the hero here. You think you're a hero, but you're actually just avoiding a lawsuit for like 14, you hope 14 years, maybe less. No, but I love him. He's like, he made it to 10, give it up for him. 30 faces later. No, I'm just kidding. He's fine. I don't know what it is about my personality, but every time I go to adopt an animal, I find the most like saddest one in the corner, and I'm like, oh, I can fix it, you know, like, and that's it. And like people in Denver, like they just have their dogs off leash like a mile away, and they'll be like, she's nice. I'm like, okay, well, mine's not, okay? Mine is not. Like, I feel like people that walk their dogs off leash are a lot like people that say they're good at drinking and driving. It's better this way. It's illegal. Someone could die. Okay, that's a victim part. Like, I just want everyone to live. Like, why is that? Why am I the bad guy? I don't know if you can see from all the hair on my clothes, but I have an Italian boyfriend. Okay. Yes. He's a little spicy meatball. And I love him so much. You know, he has like a little mustache like Mario. You know, like Mario. And people love to compliment his mustache all the time. You know, they'll be like, that's such a good mustache, to the point where I have to comment on it too, because it's so funny. And whenever people are like, that's such a good mustache, I'll be like, guys, it's my favorite form of transportation. Okay, it's the only way to get to work. And, you know, he, like, is, you know, he's a proud Italian, and I love that about him. And he also grew up watching The Sopranos. And now I'm almost done watching The Sopranos for the first time, and I, like, realized, it made me think, like, we really are shaped by the first shows that we watch, you know? Like, he's got, like, some, I mean, minus the psychopathy of a mobster, but he, like, he pouts the same as Tony Soprano, you know? Like, when I tell him to take out the trash, he's like... It's true, things shape us. It's like how All Real Monsters shaped me. And you know, he's got the little Tony Soprano vibe sometimes too. Like when he's very tough, very protective. Like when TikTok came out, he was like, "Hey, don't get on TikTok. There's pedophiles on there." And I got on there, and he's on there, so now I don't know what to think. Kidding. We're doing very well. We actually are so good. I'm actually like really close with his mom. Be jealous. But we're close, and it's so close that it's like disturbing for him. Because like we'll talk about like his like farting, for instance, in front of him. And like one time I was like, he just farts all the time in front of me, and she was like, Brad, you should get something for that. And she was like, you know what? I actually saw something on Amazon for that. I'll send it to you. And I was like, cool. So I was like, what is it? Right? Like, is it like period panties but for farting? Just a little cute. What is it? And then we went home that night, and I'm going to bed. And as I'm going to bed, I get a text message from my landlord. And my landlord is like, hey, you need to leave your building. Someone smells gas. And I was like, you know, so you're not going to call someone. You're going to text me. Okay, cool. So we leave the house, we leave the building, and then we find out that it's our range that is leaking gas. So she's like, I'll order you a new one. It'll be there Saturday. So I'm excited. New gas stove, very fun. And it gets there, and I get home, and I see the new range, and I'm looking at it, and there's this little package on top, and I open it, and it says Discreets with a Z. And I'm like, interesting. And then it says 5 power gas absorbers. And I was like, well, this is a gas stove. Clearly these are for the gas range. So I texted a picture of the package to my landlord. Because she texted me, right? And I was like, hey, we got the 5 power gas absorbers. Where do they go? She just texts back, she's like, oh, I did not send you those. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know, but maybe you're getting pranked? And I was like, I still don't understand. And then I look at it for a long time, and then I finally see in fine print 5 accordion folds for buttock insertion. I was like, these are the fart pants. So I texted her back, and I was like, T, I think I know who these are for. And now I need a new place to live. My boyfriend and I just passed our 6-year mark in our relationship. Yeah, it's really crazy. And like whenever you get that far, you just start thinking about all your first moments. And one of my favorite first moments to think about is the first fight, right? Like we all love a first fight because that's when you truly see each other. You know, you're just choking each other out. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, you get into it. And he really thought that this phrase was gonna like be like, oh wow, I feel bad. Katie feels bad, you know? Like he was like, sometimes I just feel like you're trying to change me. And I was just like, yeah, that's what a relationship is. Okay? Like, and if you're not getting what I'm saying, is I'm a pansexual woman in a straight-facing relationship. All right, I've dated a few straight boys, and I can tell you this: there's not a woman in this room dating a straight man that's like, yes, I love you at your factory settings. I love when you leave the toilet seat up. It makes me feel like I got a job. You don't clip your toenails, okay. I've always wanted to know what it's like to fuck in Middle Earth. Thank you. Thank you. And like, I've been traveling around telling that joke, and some men get really pissed about it. And I'm like, dude, I get this from your wedding vows, okay? Like, every wedding I go to, the guy's like, she showed me how to make a sandwich. It's okay. It's okay. I also got to see my partner get on antidepressants for the first time. Yeah. Anybody lifted in here? Yes. Anybody? If you haven't, you've at least been on antidepressants, right, guys? Yeah. So then we can do a little improv right now, all right? On antidepressants, it's very hard to... Oh, yes! Good job! It is, and you know, it's crazy. Like, you know, a lot of people go to the doctor, they're like, I can't come, and they're like, well, do you want to be happy or do you want to come? It's like, that's kind of like... I thought they're kind of like the same thing. What are we doing here? It's like, tell me you've never had an orgasm without telling me you've never had an orgasm. So like, you know, and I just feel like as a person with a vagine for a cuisine, I just feel like it's always kind of hard to come, you know? Like there are those girls that come really quickly and we love you for it, you know? But for some of us, it's like listening to an entire vinyl album, right? Right? You're like, oh, sick record. Whoa, okay. This is a sick record, dude. Oh my god. Woo! Oh, we're going into the B-sides. Okay. Don't stop dancing. You're not allowed to stop dancing till we all come. And so I'm not saying my partner like couldn't keep it up. He just couldn't come when he wanted to. And I was like, I don't know what that's like. And we're like talking about it. We don't know what to do. And I just look out this window all distraught. And I noticed it's a full moon. It wasn't. I just forgot to take my meds that day. I was feeling so horns. I was like, I'm going to make him come so hard. He's not going to even know he's on fluoxetine. I was like coming into the room. This is when that new Beyonce album came out too. So I was like, you won't break my soul. I was like coming into the room to give him a BJ because I never give those unless you do something good for me. And I was like grabbing his penis and I was going down and I was like getting on it. I thought I was like crushing that D, okay? But I look up, and he looks scared. He looks like there's like a gator on his dick, he's like, and I'm embarrassed, so I pop his dick out of my mouth like, what's the problem? And he's like, why are you singing? He did that. He put me right back in elementary school again. You just want to do a good job, but you can't focus. Right back in my first job, working at Jimmy John's, making sandwiches. I'm like, oh, the crazy owner's here. Okay, just gotta look busy. Like you sing when you're nervous. I just want us all to come, okay? I just want us all to come and go home, all right? I really thought I was crushing it, but this is actually what he was getting. He was getting... He's like, get it off! And I'm like, you don't like that? And he's like, I don't like that. And that's how we go! You should try it! I am an artist. And I went to art school, and and at my college graduation, I actually had Julie Andrews speak at my college graduation. Be jealous again? And if you don't know who that is, that's Mary Poppins, bitches. And she's so cool, she's the best. And in her like beautiful accent, she was like, I truly found the meaning of life not through singing, but through making children's books with my daughter. And I was like drunk and crying because it's graduation, and I was like, oh my God. What a beautiful way to tell us that we might not use our college degrees either. But I do. I make pet portraits. Yes, I do. And pet portraits are like my favorite thing in the world, because I love painting animals more than people. They're just cuter, and don't take it personally. And every once in a while, I will get a phone call from a client, and they'll be like, hi, we love the painting. We just thought it was still kind of funny that you still put the penis on the dog. And it makes me feel like such a creep, and I'm like, I'm not a creep, man. I'm a classically trained painter, okay? And if you send me a photo where your dog's dick's in it, it's going in the painting. A rocket if you're nasty. It makes me upset how upset people get about pet genitalia. I'm like, you're making it weird because you're saying it's weird. It's just there, okay? People love those, okay? I love a little dog sheath. I think it's very funny. Not so much the rocket, but the sheath is very funny. Have you seen a corgi's butt? Okay? A cat's butt? There's a reason there's like magnets and cookie cutters of that stuff, okay? If you look into your pet's asshole long enough, you will find God! Okay? Be enlightened or not. So, it's almost been 2 years since I quit my day job. Yeah. And I still do. Thank you. And I still do like look at job boards, you know, but I get so scared of a regular 9 to 5 after working at my job because it's really stressful. And like every job application I look at now for those are just the worst. They're all like, we need an innovator, we need a people person, we need someone that knows Excel. It's like, just say it's a call center, we know what you're doing to us. And like the job that I worked at was that I worked at Planned Parenthood for 6.5 years. Thank you. I know. It was a crazy job. It was a really wild job, you know? Like, people think that all we did was abortion, and I wish it was. I used to have a beautiful tag to that joke, but then Roe v. Wade got overturned, and it made it really sad. Because I was too optimistic that that would never happen. But do you guys want to hear it anyway? Okay. Well, I was like, why ban abortion when you can get a van abortion? Beep, beep. Just kidding. Now that's actually happening. Out back, after the show, I got you guys. That's my side gig. No. All right, you made it through all those so well. When I was single, I thought I was so naive in my 20s. Like, I thought the best of everyone, and I was so excited about reproductive health that I was like, this is who I am. And I still think that way, you know? Like, it is a part of me forever. I met the best people in my life working there, and I will never regret it. But, you know, like, I put it on my dating apps that I worked there, you know, because it's like, you want to get a stalker? Here you go. And you get a lot of really crazy, like some of the apps, like OkCupid, not a lot of people use that anymore, but back in the day, like, you could just, anyone could message you on that app. So I got a lot of feedback, you know, like, some people would be like, oh my God, I love Planned Parenthood. I get tested all the time. It's like, you should marry that person. No one ever says that out the gate. And then this one dude was like, you should have been aborted. I know, it was really mean. And it was actually like paragraphs, but that's mostly what he was saying. And, you know, it was like 2015 when that happened, so I was like, yeah, at least he's pro-choice. Working there was crazy because I'm also, if you can't tell, just a little smoky poke, a little high cherry pie, a little stony bologna, okay? Just can't take the smile off my face. And people would come in really stressed out and they'd see my face like, hey, what brings you in today? And they'd be like, well, my partner gave me chlamydia. And I'd be like, ooh, wah, wah, wah. Just kidding, you better hope you have chlamydia. That's like the easiest one. It's like the flu of the dick. You take a pill and it goes away. There's not even a shot. And sometimes I would get too close with the patients. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, don't even worry about those test results. I feel so good about it. My management would be like, get back in there, tell them the spiel. I'm like, hey, actually, it's gonna be like 7 business days for those results. If you don't get a phone call in 7 days, you're good. It's kind of like The Ring, 7 days. I think healthcare is really messed up in this country, and it leaves people high and dry, and that because of that, we would get a lot of people that would come in for stuff that we don't do. Like, this one person came in and they were like, I just keep pooping my pants all the time. And I was like, oh, we don't do that here, I'm so sorry. Let me go get you a pamphlet. And I went to, and it was like after lunch. I went down, I like got the pamphlet, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like about to shit my pants. And I was like, did our bowels just sync up? I also learned to do like phlebotomy and injections there. Don't worry, we got training. It's not like they just like handed us a bunch of needles at orientation and we're like, fuck yeah, feminism. You know, like, we got the training, and phlebotomy training, I gotta say, Very draining. Okay, come on. So good. But it is. It's honestly, like, people treat phlebotomists terribly. I never had any other job where I go in and I'm like, hey, how are you today? And they're like, well, I hope you're better than the last person. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna not miss this vein at all. Like, I feel so good about this. Like, why would you yell at the person with the needles? They just want to do a good job. So the next time, you get a blood draw, just like stay hydrated. Don't be a little bitch, and we won't miss on purpose. No, I'm really good at blood draws. Very good. People would get like obsessed with herpes blood draws. And this joke never lands because everyone's obsessed with herpes blood draws. And I'm like, dude, herpes is crazy. It has literally one of the highest suicide rates upon diagnosis, higher than HIV. Isn't that crazy? And I would just feel so bad. I feel so bad for all those people that killed themselves because they found out that they had herpes, because they definitely got to the other side of whatever afterlife is and then realized all of us have herpes. Oh, you guys suck. It is very likely that you have it. It's a very complicated virus, and it's just like a skin problem. It's non-life-threatening. And people get so sad about it, and I'm like, grow up, okay? Like, if you have herpes, that just means that, like, maybe your grandma kissed you goodnight one night when it was a baby, or you get laid a lot. I'm just saying, you could get laid a lot and be a person that has herpes, or you could be a loser that doesn't have it. Just kidding. Also, like, I think it's funny how people don't really know how to leave urine samples. Because it's like the most straight up thing, Like, when people would come in, I'd be like, hi, you're just gonna leave a little bit of pee and then you're gonna put it in the cabinet. People put it everywhere but the cabinet. Sometimes they come out and try to hand it to me. And then there are little angels out there that put paper towels, like a little paper towel koozie, around their urine sample and then put it in there. And I think that's the sweetest thing, because they must think that I have to go in there without gloves on. And just raw dog it. I keep it like a fine wine. I do keep all the pee. No, I'm just kidding. And my favorite part is we always say just a little bit of pee, and what do you guys do? You fill it up. Yeah, people fill it up. I can't tell you how chill it is at like 8 a.m. to take a full hot cup of piss out of a cabinet. I die when I spill it on myself. I can't tell you how many times I've spilled pee on myself. A little piece of me has died, So the next time you leave a urine sample, just like pour a little out for the homies. I thought it would be so funny to like have that as merch. So I like made a little paper towel koozie, and it's like a little piss cup that's like, and I was like, nobody wants a piss cup koozie, but if you do, they're $5 after the show. Also, there were it's so interesting. Like, I do think that gender is a construct and we just need to blow it up as much as we can. Like, get rid of it. Stop making people have to confirm their gender at an early age, like, just let them be who they are. But there are, because of gender constructs, there are people that really fall into those stereotypes, and I'm sorry to say it, but it is straight people. Dude, straight guys are the craziest when they come in for testing. And they'll be like, I don't want to do HIV, I don't need that. And I'm like, I know you don't, but it's actually everyone's at risk for it. It's not just men that have sex with men, it's all of us now. And they're like, well, if I find out it's positive, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm like, not again. It's a very livable disease now, come on, like, just get over it. And like, sometimes they won't even come in. Like, I'll get a phone, we get lots of phone calls. We get all these phone calls from these straight guys, and the reason I know they would straight is because they'd be like, I don't need an appointment, I just have some questions. It's like, okay, Bob, hit me. And they're like, well, it's just my girlfriend just got this IUD. And I'm like, okay, those are great birth control devices, 99% effective. Like, hell yeah, dude. And they're like, yeah, it's really effective. It's just that sometimes I can feel it on the tip of my penis when I have sex. And then you're just listening to Bob breathe on the phone like, and I'm just like, okay, so why are you calling? And they're like, because it's weird and I don't like head. And hearing that makes me so mad. Like, I'm just like, weird. Oh, weird? That's so funny because, like, Bob, I've been in the room when those have been inserted. I've had an IUD. Women will actually scream like, oh my God, I can't feel my legs. This feels like childbirth. But that's like so weird you can feel it on your dick sometimes. That could be a baby grabbing your dick sometimes. Male birth control's canceled, but you can feel it on your dick sometimes. You're lucky you get to feel anything on your dick sometimes, okay? And if you are one of those gentlemen feeling the strings of an IUD through the cervix, that means you're at the cervix. Like, you gotta celebrate that shit, okay? So it's a learning facility, and I learned a lot. Like, you get to sit in on procedures and stuff, and my favorite thing was, like, sometimes you get to look in the microscope and they can diagnose stuff. Don't get weird, but whenever someone has a little funky discharge, they swab it, and then they look at it under a microscope, and you can see all different types of things. Like, sometimes they can see yeast, and we all go make some beer. And then sometimes they can actually diagnose this parasite that is part of STD panels for people sometimes, and it's called trichomoniasis, okay? And it causes a green funky discharge in the vagina. Wah, I know, that's upsetting, but it does pertain to this joke. And I just think it's funny because, like, so many STDs sound like Harry Potter spells. Like, what is that? They're like, trichomoniasis, syphilis. And trick, we call it trick for short because it's tricky to rock around that round, but it's not, it's fun. But we call it trick. We call it a trick. And my clinician was in the lab one day that I was working with, and she saw some in the microscope, and she just goes, "Has anybody not seen Trick yet?" And my friend walking by was like, "Did you say Shrek yet?" And I was like, holy shit, like, if Shrek was an STD, like, it would be Trek, dude. Like, totally green discharge, are you kidding me? You look in the microscope, there's just a bunch of little, like, Shrek heads floating around, just like, get out of my swamp. Swamp is my new name for my pussy. The weirdest part when I worked there was that, sometimes you'd go to other health centers for care, and people don't see you as a healthcare worker. Like, I went to the dentist, and while I went there, I was getting these x-rays, and the little x-ray assistant had this little Texas necklace on. And fun fact about me, I was born in Philadelphia, raised in Texas, okay, so I'm just this little piece of white trash blown across the country. I was like, Texas, we made it out, and we're vibing. And then I go and see the hygienist, and the hygienist sits me down, and she's like, Catherine, you're gonna have to get a $900 cleaning procedure. And I'm like, what? And she's like, and so your insurance will only cover one side of the mouth per day. So you can literally come back tomorrow and get the other side, but your insurance will only cover one side per day. And I'm just like, what the fuck is healthcare in this country? So they're numbing up that one side, and I'm crying, trying to keep it together. And that little Texas assistant comes back in, and she's like, oh my God, I forgot to get your blood pressure. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I work in healthcare too, and I've forgotten blood pressure before. Get it on the way out, right? And she's like, oh, thank you so much for understanding. Where do you work? And I was like, oh, I just work at the Planned Parenthood down the street. And she goes, oh. And we're just sitting in silence. Well, she's taking my blood pressure, realizing we're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, and half my face is numb. But I'm not backing down from a discussion. So I was like, what's the problem? And she's like, well, I've only been to Planned Parenthood like once, and it was really weird, and I just never want to go back there ever again. And I was like, that's sad, because reproductive health is very normal. It's healthcare. And she's like, yeah, well, all I know about Planned Parenthood is like from the movies, like Juno. And I'm like, Juno is a movie about choice, bish. But I'm so nice, I just looked at her and was like, well, that's funny, because do you know how many people hate the dentist? So I know I said I'm bad at movies, but I have a movie podcast. And I love talking about movies. And my favorite thing to do when I am watching movies, and this is part of the reason sometimes I rewind, is I will watch a movie and then I start like IMDbing everything, and like I know people do that too. It's the best, and you find out all these weird little sub stories or articles about whatever this film has going on. And I saw that there was actually a rendition of Batman that got canceled because Batman was portrayed eating pussy in the script. Yeah, nice, right? Yes. And I just think it's really funny because DC Comics was like, you have to take that out. And the reason why is because Batman is a hero. And I was like, of course Batman eats pussy. Why do you think his voice sounds like that? It's from all the HPV. You thought you were out of those jokes, but I got you back on them. HPV, how's it feel to be on a pamphlet, fellas? So crazy, it gets all of us. No one's safe. And I worked there when we started vaccinating people 46 and under, and we were in training, and my friend that I worked with was telling me about how her neighbor, she was like, he's a doctor, he's been married for years, never had a different partner, he's got throat cancer, they did a biopsy, it was HPV, and he's 70, and I was like, damn, I'm just glad that a boomer's eating pussy, okay, come on. So the podcast that I had was a horror film podcast, and I really do enjoy horror films. Yes, and it's funny, I love them, and it was hard to find people to do it because a lot of people really hate horror films, and to those people I say, grow up. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. People get so scared when I say that for some reason, like I'm gonna hold them down and make them watch a horror movie. I'm like, don't worry, you're safe. But I do think that it's fake, it's cathartic. So I do love that because there's lots of poetic ways that they take a metaphor about society and turn it into a horror film, and it's not real. So it's like you can sit through it and get through it, and that's exciting to get through it. And I also would argue that there's other forms of cinema that are way more scary than actual horror films. Like if you turn on a nature documentary, I will lose my shit, okay? I will be sobbing, having a panic attack every time I watch a nature documentary. Because every nature documentary, like, picture a gazelle, like a thick gazelle, just gazelling around, and the gazelle's just like walking through this tall grass and shit. And then you see a cheetah, and the cheetah's like me, like a little cheetah's coming out, and the cheetah starts chasing the gazelle, and you're like, gazelle, get out! And you're so worried about the gazelle, and it barely makes it out, and you're like, whew, go gazelle, go. And then they hit you with something like, and most cheetahs die of starvation. You're like, no! So I will stick to horror. And I also feel like some horror is so fake that it's hilarious. And a lot of it doesn't really, I am an atheist, so, demon stuff doesn't really bother me, because I don't believe in God, but also because every time there's a demon in a movie, the demon's saying some really weird shit, right? Like, we can agree that, like, demons in every horror film, it's confusing. I'm like, who wrote these lines for this? Because is this what a demon would say? Like, I read the Bible once. I don't think the demon would be saying these things, okay? Like, one of the most well-known quotes in horror film history literally is, like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. And I'm just like, that sounds fun, okay? Like, I want to suck cocks in hell. Like, get me down there. I just feel like if the demon were to be more real, it would say something, that, like, probably a bigot would think it would say, right? Like, people are, like, hyper-Christian in the bad way. Like, they'll be, like, it would say something like, your mother's got they, them pronouns in hell. Everyone's in drag in hell. We're all sucking dicks and clits in hell. I'll be down there if anyone wants to be my burn buddy. I love to read. I recently also movie that I've had ever since I saw it, everyone's always like, you gotta read the book, you gotta read the book. And the movie is It. Any It heads out there? Yeah, love It. And it's crazy because they'll always say, you gotta read the book. It ends in a crazy orgy. And I'm like, that's crazy, but I'm a sicko, so of course I read it. And it actually doesn't really end in an orgy, okay? To me, I think, Beverly, the girl, she has sex with each boy individually. And that's just girl boss shit, okay? I was like, you do this, you save the world, okay? And I was talking to my friend, and I was like, I just don't think it was that weird. Like, everyone was like, oh, they had to rewrite the movies and all these things, and my friend was like, well, kids aren't gangbanging in sewers, Katie, now, are they? And I was like, that's the realest part in the whole book, okay? It's like a clown that eats people, but we don't think adolescents are fucking. I grew up in Texas with a very low pregnancy rate there. I just don't think it's that crazy, I don't think it's that crazy. And I actually think, someone in this room probably lost their virginity in a very gross, weird place, or just a weird place. Does anybody want to say where? You could shout it out.
A futon.
Okay, that's not that crazy. Unless you're over 30. A futon is not crazy unless you're over 30. It's like, get a real bed. Wait. What? Who else said something over here?
Creepy basement.
A creepy basement. Why was it creepy?
It was like dark and musty and lots of boxes.
Lots of boxes. That is very creepy. Yes. The weirdest one I've had since I've been working on this joke was a chicken coop. I was like, that's how COVID starts, okay? Like, gross. I always save my family jokes for the last part. You guys have been so amazing. One more time for the staff, the bug, and everyone you saw tonight. This has been a dream. So I know I was saying that I look like my dad, and he's like this successful lawyer, and he's just very successful, and that's like mostly what we have in common. And and like when I was little, like, he wasn't around a lot because he was traveling, and when I got older, I was like, hey man, like, where were you at my soccer games? I know I'm a girl, but I can kick some balls. And in his most lawyer voice, like soulless, he was like, Kate, it's so cool seeing you all grown up. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you as a baby. I just like adults. And like, we get along really well now, like, he's not like, and it's like a perfect example of how, he's a boomer. Like, I feel like a lot of boomers like had to like a lot of boomers didn't really think. They were just like, we just have to procreate. That's what everyone's doing. We gotta do it, And there's a lot of people in this world that I don't think should have had kids, Like, just like think about Casey Anthony if she didn't have kids. And I'm not saying my dad's like that, but we're good now. We're great. And he has been married to my mom for a very long time. And they've been married for about like 45 years, yeah? Yeah, and my mom hasn't had a job in about 40 years, so she's doing the best, right? And she likes to tell me how I could be doing better, yes. the one who hasn't had a job in 40 years. She'll leave me voicemails of job ideas while I'm at a job. And every voicemail's like, hey Kate, it's Mom. It's like, duh. Okay. It's 2023, I can see that you're calling. And she'll be like, hey Kate, it's Mom. I was driving down the highway looking at all the billboards and I just kept seeing all these gorgeous hands with rings on them and I thought, who has beautiful hands? My daughter! You should be a hand model. Love you, bye. So insulting, like why not just a model? Just the hands? Mom, you're supposed to be my cheerleader. She's a tiny person. Anybody have a smaller mom? You know, you just want to like kill him. Just kidding. But she is tiny. And like when plus size models came out, like she was like, Kate, go be a plus size model. And to that, I was insecure at the time, so I like ran to the woods and I was like, why not just a model? You know, and I was like kicking up the leaves, starting to take my own photos in them, like, here's a model, here's a little model for you, here's a model, you know, and then I like threw my phone because I was so upset, and I went to go pick it up, and I was like brushing the leaves off of it, and I was like, oh my God, look at that hand. She just wants to help, you know, so I called her back and I was like, I'm gonna combine everything you said and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be a plus size hand model. I'm here to make cheeseburgers look small and sexy. Bambino's my little baby. But you know, it's not my mom's fault. She is, again, also a boomer lady. You know, like when she was growing up, they were like, just don't eat, don't eat. Women don't eat. And I know that like she's just like also this horrible cycle of diet culture that, you know, is $1 billion industry, and everybody just keeps putting more money into it. And when in reality, you know, you shouldn't be thinking about food like every 90% of your day. And, you know, she did what she could at the time. But like I said, she loves these jokes, so don't get tight here. But here's a direct impression of my mom in the dressing room when I was a young kid. Kate, there's a skinny girl inside of you. I can see it. I can see it. And don't worry, I was like so tough. I was like, well, she's never coming out. It's not safe out there. She needs all the cushion she can get. And she's like, wow, I really can't believe you just tell like rooms of strangers that I used to body shame you. And I'm like, well, I can't believe you can't tell when I'm telling a joke because there's a sense of humor inside of you. I can see it. I can see it. So one of the things though that we did do, and it's like the silliest thing you could do, but I was into it, you know, it was the 90s going into 2000s, like, again, women were just, they were like, don't eat, that's just the vibe that it is, and so I was like, what can we do, and my mom found me a hypnotist for weight loss, and it is crazy getting hypnotized, okay, first of all, you go in there, and it's kind of like a chiropractor's office, where there's like newspapers on the wall, and the hypnotists are standing next to their patients, and then there's like a little Jared from Subway thing, oh my God, or like someone's breaking cigarettes, you know, and then you walk down this hallway and you can see into the other rooms and see other people getting hypnotized. So I was like, okay, so we're not doing HIPAA here. So you go in and you sit in this little lazy boy, and this guy comes in and he's like, hello, Catherine, have you ever been hypnotized before? And I'm like, no! And he's like, okay, great, take a deep breath, breathe in, and then you start to get relaxed, and then boom, it's an hour later. And he slides you a tape across the table, and he's like, you did great today, Catherine. Here's some homework to listen to as you fall asleep at night so that you don't lose the hypnotisms. And they ruined every sleepover I ever had. But I listened to them because I'm a good girl, okay? And I'll reprise them with you guys tonight. So everybody, just give me a slow clap, like, all right? Okay. You're getting in an elevator, Vader. You're getting in an elevator. and you're thinking about slices of pizza, but you're getting higher and happier in salad world where like you don't even need pizza anymore. Thank you. And I just really feel like it backfired. Are you kidding? Because now every time I eat pizza, I feel light as fuck. Are you kidding me? Every time I get in the elevator, I'm like, it smells like pizza in here. I can smell it. And people are like, we don't smell pizza. And I'm licking the walls like a Willy Wonka pizza. And then, people run out. And that's how you get to work on time, right? But then, when you get to work, it's Denver, you're gonna see a lot of people obsessed with diets, loving to show their health, their salads and all that stuff in your face. Love when the person's talking about the new salad ideas that they have, like the little mason jars with the layered salads. They're like, I have a salad in a mason jar, and you just shake it. You shake it really well. I'm like, cool. That's exactly what I do with salads, Lauren, okay? I shake them very well, and then I throw them out a window. I feel like salads are a lot like babies, like my body's like biologically like craving it. But I don't want any of it because I'm like my dad, I like adults. You guys, that's my time!